Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we are talking about life in leadership. This is day 9 in life and leadership. And one of the things that we continue to talk about, of course, is corporate life. But in corporate life, sometimes we're being voluntold to do something. So if you've been asked to volunteer, but it felt more like a command, this is what we're talking about today. So if you got voluntold, let's talk about what to do when that happens. So when we say voluntold, that simply means that someone told you what to do and you did not volunteer. Now, listen, I've been voluntold plenty of things within my life. And again, welcome to the Life and Leadership series. This is where we talk about corporate America, your 9 to 5, leadership, leveling up, all of those things that help you to get to the next space in your career. Today, we are talking about being voluntold and you didn't volunteer. And so we're going to talk about what to do when that happens and how this could be disguised as an opportunity. And now if you're in here, please continue to tap your screen, get other people in, because really when we think about our 9 to 5 and our corporate lives, if you will, leadership is something that quite often something that we all think about, but we don't know how to handle it. And so in being in leadership for years and looking at things from a different perspective, my goal is to help you to appreciate how you can twist it instead of thinking that it's something that you can't do, it's something that you can do. And so I'm all about strategies to help you level up your career. And so with that being said, what voluntold really means. So if you've been voluntold to do something in your leadership journey or in your 9 to 5, it literally means that you've been asked to do something, or it may feel like a command to do something. And instead of you saying, hey, I volunteered to do it, your boss, your manager, they're the ones that have said, hey, I need you to do this. So with that being said, and thank you for joining. With that being said, we're going to shift what we're talking about as we talk about leveling up in leadership, right? So when we talk about leveling up, the first thing we want to consider is let's not overlook that when you're voluntold, could that possibly mean that the other person sees a leadership skill in you that you may not see yourself? Quite often we roll our eyes and we huff and puff about volunteering or being voluntold. I want you to consider 3 overlooked thoughts so that when someone voluntold you to do something, you're not looking at it as a negative. Leaders often voluntold to those that they trust to get the job done. And guys, please continue to tap your screen, get others in. As they come in, they will also learn more about leadership and how they can adjust their thought process to leadership, right? So what voluntold is really saying is that this person actually sees me. They see something in me that I may not see in myself. So when we talk about that 9 to 5, you may not feel like you're ready. You may not feel like you're ready to adjust. You may feel like you're not prepared. But instead of the why me, right? If you're being voluntold to do something, how about what skill is my boss, is my manager, is my leader trusting me with? What skill do they trust in me to bring this to fruition? And again, welcome in, guys. Please tap your screen. We're talking about being voluntold instead of you volunteering in your leadership, or if you're leveling up to leadership, what that looks like. Okay, so leaders will often volunteer you to do something because they trust that you'll actually get the job done. You may not feel ready, but they see the readiness. So what this is doing is stretching that muscle, if you will. It is stretching that muscle so that you can get to the next level. Okay, so let's not look at this as a negative. Thank you so much for the likes. Please keep the likes coming. Number 2, it is a stage that you're in. It is not a setup. And guys, just so you know, I'm looking at my notes. I'm looking at the computer, okay? It isn't. Think about this. If you're trying to level up in your 9 to 5, you're trying to go to leadership, and this is the Life in Leadership series. If you're trying to level up in your job, keep in mind being voluntold could get you in front of the right people. Think about that. If you are trying to level up in your career, thank you for the follow, thank you for the likes. You're trying to level up in your career. You're trying to look at ways to be visible. You need experience, right? keep in mind this, your boss that's voluntold you, or your manager that has voluntold you, is actually giving you visibility, free advertisement that you actually didn't look for. And this could lead to a leadership role that you never imagined. Think about that. So this is a stage or a phase that's putting you in front of people and others, even getting you possibly into meetings that you may not be aware of. So it is the visibility or the free advertisement that you did not ask for, but it could lead to other stretch opportunities, projects, and it definitely leads to experience. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you for the likes. So own the moment. I need you to own the moment. Make it a part of your brand. Make it a part of your story. Make it a part of your experience. Because as I always say, your resume has the experience, but the exposure, the visibility is going to get you in the rooms that you need to be in. Okay? So think about that. Thank you so much for the likes. Guys, please continue to tap your screen, get others in. If you know others that are trying to level up in their career, they want to know about experience, they want to know about strategies, this is the live for you. Okay? Everybody can't own their own business, right? We need to have a 9-to-5. We need to have our corporate lives. We need that. Not everybody owns a business, but if you're looking to level up, then these are some strategies I want you to consider. Now, point number 3, if you've been voluntold, sometimes you're being tested for how you show up under pressure. I'll say it again for the people in the back. Sometimes it's pressure for how you're going to show up. You learn fast when you're uncomfortable. Why is that? The reason you're learning fast when you're uncomfortable, thank you so much for the rose. I appreciate that. Thank you for the gift. You learn fast when you're uncomfortable. Why? Because we want to stop the uncomfortability. We want to stop the uncomfortability. So I want you to reframe this as, this is not a punishment. This is a pivot. You are stretching that muscle. You are looking for, keep in mind, if you're trying to level up, you are looking for opportunities within the business. So if you've been voluntold to do something, this is the perfect opportunity to stretch that muscle, get the experience, and look at it from a different perspective. So those are 3 points when you've been voluntold. Now let's move on to something else. How do you handle it like a leader? How are you going to handle it? Do not roll your eyes. Do not huff and puff. Ask for clarity. That's number 1. Ask for clarity. If you need more information, can you share with me? And this is a really good point, guys. I want you to get your pen and paper. I want you to write this down. Can you share with me? I have this and this and this on my plate. Would you mind sharing with me how you'd like me to prioritize this? If you need more clarity. If you don't, you do what you want to do. You get the job done. It may be unorthodox, but you get it done and you take the win. Does that make sense? Take the win. Okay? If you ask questions, this does not mean, and keep in mind, this does not mean that you're bitter. It simply means that you're curious about what you've been voluntold to do. You are curious about what you've been voluntold to do. Okay? Excuse me. Now, point number 2, I want you to consider, if you're going to handle this like a leader, handle it like a boss, what is the potential upside? What is the time commitment? Listen, when we begin to get something on our plate in our 9-to-5, I want you to consider, what's the upside? Well, we talked about the upside. The upside was I get free advertisement. I'm getting into rooms where people don't see me. I'm getting visibility. I'm showing up, and I'm showing up like a boss, like a leader. Right? That's 1. Number 2, we're asking questions to remain curious. The reason we're asking questions is because we want to ensure that we have all necessary information. We are completely educated as much as possible in order to make the appropriate moves as we're completing this project that we've been voluntold. Okay? And thank you so much for the likes, guys. Please continue to like. As you like, others will come in. As they come in, they will learn more about leadership and strategies to help them, right? So if something, and here's the key, I want you to be aware of this. If something in your mind is not aligned to where you feel your next leadership role should be, keep this in mind. How do I've been voluntold to do this, how do I take this information, whatever project I'm on, understand the pain points, find a solution for it? Because when I find the solution for it, I am now, let me see, listening to you fully, but that eyeshadow, oh, thank you. Thank you, the doll. Now I appreciate that. So this particular project, how do I, because remember now you're getting free visibility. People, your name will be spoken in rooms. Oh, she's handling this particular project. What is this? Is this a dead end? No, it's not a dead end. Keep in mind, when we're looking to level up in our career, everything is experience. Thank you so much for the gift, Naturally, Tiff. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Everything is experience. So then when you're doing your resume, when you're sitting in interviews, you're speaking to outcomes that you did. And in those outcomes, what you're really doing is saying, I add value, and this is how I added the value. Okay? Remember that. Evaluate without emotion. See, our emotions will blur the lines. But what you want to focus on is the potential in your leveling up, the potential in your career. Right? And if it requires additional time, I've been all over corporate. If it requires additional time, that is where you say, listen, I need to pivot. This is what's happening. Just let your boss, your leader, your manager, whoever that is, let them know this is what's happening. And to be clear, to be honest with you, if they've trusted and voluntold that you can do this, you can do it. Remove the emotion, look at logic. Remove the emotion, the uncomfortability, look at logic. What do I need to do to get this done? And what resources, because I've talked about networking, what resources can I pull in? What resources, who do I know that I can possibly pull in or consult with that has fantastic ideas? Who did you work with on a project before? How can they help you in this project? What does that look like for you? See, so being voluntold is not necessarily a bad thing. Guys, I want us to reframe our thought process when we talk about leadership. And to be clear, you are a leader. You just have to think like the leader. The title doesn't mean anything if the mindset does not shift. Okay? So now point number 3. It is okay to say, I'll need to move some things around. It is okay to say, I need to move things around. And here's why. Because the scope of this project impedes or impacts some of the other projects I have going on. There is nothing wrong with stating that. There is nothing wrong. Listen, in leadership, when there is meeting of the minds, if you will, when there is confidential talk between you and your boss, when there is information shared, it helps you to pivot at the appropriate time. It helps you to adjust at the appropriate time. So let's not, set the appropriate boundaries, okay? You're getting a clear scope on the project. You want to give your best. Remember, include your boss in the information, okay? Because they're going to want updates. Now, here's a few pieces of what you can do differently. If you're in a leadership role already, or you're almost there, you're on the brink of it, one of the things that you can do, and I love this, one of the things that you can do different than what was done to you is inviting someone. Hey, listen, and this is how you invite. Again, I've been an analyst. I've been on the phones. I've been a coordinator. I've been a performance management consultant. I've been a supervisor. I've been a manager, right? I've worked with all different sorts from C-suite on down. This is the beauty in leadership. One of the things you want to do is invite others on your project. How do you do that? And I'm going to give you an example. I noticed project X, Y, and Z, you did this, this, and this, and you had a great outcome. May I use you as a resource from time to time in order to, help me in this particular project? That's how you invite. That's how you invite. Okay? So you got to use a method when you're inviting. Okay? Here's the method. When you're inviting someone, number one, you compliment. I noticed that you did a really good job on whatever project XYZ. Number two, now that you've complimented them, number two, maybe you mentioned an outcome. I noticed that your team did this, this, and this. Thank you so much for the gift. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Right? And then number three, ask them, would you mind sharing some of those details with me? Why do you want them to share the details? Because this is also a part of networking. This is also a part of gleaning information to help you on your project. So let's not look at being voluntold to do something as a bad thing. Okay? Now, I have tons of strategies. I've got tons of things that we could talk about. However, I want you guys to know and understand that in mid-May, I'm going to have a masterclass. That masterclass is going to talk about some of the strategies. Listen, we've got different, if you're already in leadership, hey Mo, how you doing? Thank you for joining, my friend. If you're already in leadership, the one thing you want to understand is the personas on your team. Did you know that there were personas? How do you, from the heart, thank you for the follow, thank you for the likes. How do you, from the heart, engage those personas? What does that look like? Right? Not only do you have personas, but then you have lack of clear direction, lack of career development, lack of emotional intelligence. These are things that we're talking about in the master class. So it's not just for people that are already in leadership. This is also for those that are looking to level up their leadership. Hey, Emily, thank you so much. Oh, I'm glad this is helping you out. Because listen, everybody does not own their own business. Everybody doesn't want to own their own business. I've known people that have their own business and they go back to their 9 to 5. Nothing wrong with that. To be clear, there is nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5. But here's the piece. We want to make sure that as we're in the 9 to 5, that we can work it and we have a strategy in order to pivot or in order to move us in the direction that we want to go in. And that is all about networking. That's all about having a strategy. It's not just about the resume. Okay? So we want to make sure that as we talk about life and leadership, especially in our leadership roles, or we're moving within our leadership, we have to be educated. If I could start all over, there were certain things that I wish I knew, but I'm here to share it with you so that you can do well in your 9 to 5. Okay? So if you're being voluntold to do something, this live was all about being voluntold because they're looking at you as a leader. Do not suck your teeth. Do not get emotional. We talked about 3 ways to look at it if you're being voluntold, and I'm going to repeat them again. Okay? If you're being voluntold, they see something in you that you may not see in yourself. Okay? They trust that you can get the job done. That's 1. Number 2, being voluntold will get you in front of the right people. It gets you visibility, even though you didn't ask for it. It gets you visibility and it gets you experience that you want. And then number 3, you learn quickly when you're uncomfortable. You're going to learn quickly. You're going to show up under pressure. And when I say show up, to be clear, show up is a full gambit of things. And I'm going to say this may be controversial. Guys, I got 9 more minutes, so I'm going to say this may be controversial. When I say show up, we're not showing up any kind of way. We're not showing up with wrinkled clothes on. We're not showing up looking like we just rolled out of bed. We're not showing up with our hair all over our heads. We are showing up neat, clean, and ready for the day. Dress and grooming is necessary in leadership. I know you may say, well, I don't see that. Listen, I promise you, if your dress and grooming is on point, you're already 10 spaces ahead of those that are not. I'll say it again for the people in the back. When we talk about life and leadership, and this is a life and leadership series, every day for the month of April, I am doing posts on leadership, life and leadership, corporate America, 9 to 5. When you show up, it is not, I'm just here. It is showing up in such a way where you actually look ready, even if you're trembling inside, even if you're nervous, even if you're scared, even if you don't think you're prepared. Show up. Okay? So those 3 points, versatility, visibility, and last but not least, them looking at you as a leader, that's what's going to move the needle in your leadership journey. Okay? That's what's going to move the needle in your leadership journey. So guys, thank you so much. I look forward to Friday. Friday, I'll be live again from 8:30 to 9. But I do want to ask a question. Anyone here in the chat, and please let me know, anyone here in the chat, have they been voluntold? Put a 1 in the comments if you've been voluntold, which is different from volunteering. Have you been voluntold? If you have, how did you react? If you've been voluntold, how did you react? Okay, Mo has been voluntold. Thank you, Mo. I appreciate that. He's been who else has been voluntold to do something in your career, in your 9 to 5? I know those moments sting, but you can build something from being voluntold. It's about perspective, it's about preparation, and it's about positioning. Shannon, thank you so much for that. Shannon's been voluntold. I hope you both look at this from a different perspective now. I hope you see it differently. I hope the adjustments come in where even if you're voluntold to do something, you look at it differently and not emotionally, but logically. How can you strategically use this opportunity to get ahead in your leadership, in your journey, in your 9 to 5, in your career? Okay. So with that being said, thank you all so much. First of all, thank you for the likes. Thank you for the follows. I think most of you know I've pivoted. I talk quite a bit about life, but leadership, I've been in leadership for pretty much 30 years. I love leadership. I love helping people to get to the next level. You can follow me on all social medias. More long form content will be on YouTube. But I appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much. If this hit home, please feel free to follow me. And the masterclass is coming up in May. I will put a date out. I haven't gotten a date yet because we're also traveling. But as soon as I get a date, I'll let you know of the masterclass. A few of you have reached out to find out about that. But I will certainly put out a masterclass. But remember, being voluntold is not a bad thing, okay? Be encouraged and enjoy this Wisdom Wednesday. Bye-bye.